Has Hawk's character arc degraded from Season 4 to Season 5? Some people seem to think so because of his loss to Kenny, but I think there's still some deeper meaning behind his character. There's no doubt that he's still a great asset to Miyagi-Fang, and losses have not stopped him before. Because of his perseverance, Eli continues to push on and do the right thing. This is why Hawk is still a champ. Let's talk about his relationship with Robby, why he lost to Kenny, and more. Let's recap on what we know about Hawk so far. Since this is a continuation of my previous video, why Hawk is still an awesome character, I'm only going to recap the events of his arc in Season 5. Feel free to skip ahead to avoid the recap, but be warned, you may miss some important details later on in the video. Like the other students, Hawk is disappointed that Miyagi-Do is shutting down. After Miguel comes back from his trip to Mexico, he and Dimitri help Diaz with his problems with Sam. At the water park, Hawk comes to Anthony's defense and races Tori, but Kenny sabotages this by purposely giving him a flat tube. Kenny ends up striking Hawk, who retaliates, resulting in both dojos getting kicked out. Despite Johnny saying Robby's not in Cobra Kai, this causes Eli to continue to despise Robby because he perceives him coming to Cobra Kai's aid. When Miyagi-Fang is reformed, Hawk struggles to get along with Robby at first, but does so at Dimitri's suggestion. He has chosen to fight Kenny in the Sakai to Kai qualifier, but loses due to a bribed ref. When finding out that Silver rigged the All Valley, he assists Miyagi-Fang in taking Cobra Kai down by exposing Silver, and witnesses Silver's defeat at the hands of his sensei, Daniel. Let's first talk about Hawk's relationship with Robby. When Miguel talks about Robby not being in Cobra Kai, Hawk doesn't buy this at first, and he fears that this is true in Downward Spiral when he notices that Robby is getting into the middle of the argument between Cobra Kai and Miyagi-Fang. This is also shown when he eyes Keen as he volunteers to race at the suggestion of Bert. After both dojos are kicked out of the water park when Kenny and Hawk fight, the latter angrily eyes Robby as he leaves, upset at Keen's interference. In Bad Eggs, Hawk is still mad both about his mohawk and being pushed into the pool by Robby, noticeably hostile towards him when talking with Miguel. This comes to a head when they're both eliminated in Chosen's training exercise, as Hawk tells Robby to shut up, and Keen responds that if anyone knows how Cobra Kai can make people an asshole, it's him. This confrontation is put to rest by Dimitri when he reminds them that they had both done terrible things to each other as part of Cobra Kai. When the team retries Anthony's idea, Robby and Hawk are the first to attack Chosen separately, but it doesn't work. Following Miguel and Sam's lead, they work together and attack at the same time, solidifying the start of their friendship. During Kreese's monologue, Robby and Hawk are seen standing together as they continue to train under Chosen. In Tai-Kai, Robby is the one to let Hawk know to go easy on Kenny because of Cobra Kai's influence. After Miyagi-Fang is granted admittance, they are seen hugging each other. At the after party, Robby also asks about Hawk's hair, who says he's still trying to figure it out. I'm glad to see these two work their issues out, as they had a deep rivalry since Season 1, and 3 of the best fighters in the Valley are now on the same side. Let's also talk about why Hawk lost to Kenny. I talked about this more in depth in my Why Kenny is Still Corrupted video, but I want to point out some things here from Hawk's perspective. One of the main reasons in combination with going easy on Kenny is that he was overconfident. This has cost him in previous fights, notably with Robby, Dimitri, and Miguel, with almost all of these fights occurring in Season 2. This overconfidence, along with none of the students working together, is also what caused him to fail the training exercise with Chosen initially, as he taunted Taguchi for wanting to take on the champ. Eli then quickly realized he was outmatched and was eliminated. As far as Kenny Payne, had he focused and gone on the offensive earlier, Hawk most likely would have won. While this loss humbled Hawk, the great thing about it is that he didn't let it bother him. Hawk maintains a Rocky Balboa-like attitude when Kyler makes fun of him, pointing out that he's learning from his fights in comparison to his enemy. This is what I think makes him so endearing. As I've talked about before, he lost all of his fights in Season 2, but people still love his character. In a deleted scene, he mentions dyeing his hair blue to return to his roots, and that's the best thing he can do right now. He could let the loss bother him, or like his sensei once said, just focus on moving forward and never stop learning. I'd like to also briefly talk about the symbolism of Hawk's character in Season 5. In Playing with Fire, Hawk changes his chest tattoo once again by covering up the Reaper with the lotus flower, which he tells Dimitri that it symbolizes a new beginning. Similarly, the flower could also represent purity, spiritual enlightenment, and rebirth. It's likely that he got this idea from Moon, as she once told him that his purple mohawk symbolized enlightenment, as I touched on this symbolism in my How Daniel Faced His Fears video, and got the tattoo to affirm his alignment with Miyagi-Do. This does represent Hawk's arc, as he now has to carry himself as a champion. We see this in Downward Spiral as he considers striking Kenny first, but when a fan calls out to him as champ, he changes his mind and decides to de-escalate the situation. The lotus flower could also be a nod on how he has to put his grudges behind with Robby, someone he's had many encounters with in the past and ultimately buries the hatchet with. In Taikai, Hawk has changed his hair color to green, and as I talked about in my How Robby Became Better video, green is a color that can sometimes symbolize qualities such as growth, transformation, rebirth, and peace, also coinciding with his decision to get the lotus flower tattoo. As discussed before, Hawk uses the loss against Kenny to grow and learn from this, knowing he has a long way to go, but again plans to keep growing as a person by returning to his roots and to keep moving forward. Here are my final thoughts on Hawk and what we can expect to see from him in the future. While he had a short arc this season, he still has some great moments on screen. Hawk contributed some money to help his friend with his girlfriend, defended a fellow student, made amends with an enemy, and helped the dojo take down Terry Silver. In Season 6, I imagine we'll see more awesomeness out of him, and maybe he'll help Anthony and Kenny get over their beef if he and Dimitri can point out their common interests. No matter what, Hawk always manages to steal the show, and I know we'll see that. As we see in the final trailer for Cobra Kai Season 6 Part 1, he's already done so by having a radically different mohawk. Speaking of growth and enlightenment, Robby has had a similar journey in Season 5. Like Hawk, he did his best to make amends and grow as a person to achieve his redemption.